Hey, what's going on, everybody, man? My name's Riley. If it's your first time seeing my face here on YouTube, go subscribe to my channel and leave a like on this video. On today's clip, we're jumping over to California, where we're tragically covering a story on a poor little 3-year-old girl, my apologies, that passed away due to her mom leaving her in a hot car while she was passed out drunk. Apparently, a family member found her nearby her house, and there was empty alcohol bottles in there. Mom was passed out, and unfortunately, the little girl in the back seat that was passed away. I'm guessing due to heat. We're going ahead and uncover this whole story for you guys right now. Before we go over this clip, we do have a little announcement for you guys. We have a giveaway for you guys at the end of the video. That's where the details are going to be if you're interested in making some free money, so make sure you stay in tune for that. We've also been live streaming here on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. I'm going to have those other links to those channels down below. It means a lot to me if you guys can go ahead and check those out as well. Drop a follow and turn those post notifications on here on YouTube so you know when we do go live. Come tap in, say what's up, because we're probably live right now. So I'm happy to meet some of you guys in there. And other than that, let's go and hop in this clip. Let's go. All right, y'all, for this clip, make sure you're comfortable, grab something to snack on and something to sip, and let's enjoy this video together.
I wish I was making this up, right? But no, man, my daughter really is dead due to the negligence of her mother.
That's Juan Ruiz. He's a father in unspeakable pain, and he's grieving after his 3-year-old daughter died in a hot car, and now the girl's mother is behind bars.
This is a terrible tragedy, and our thoughts are with the victim's family and everybody who's involved in this incident.
I'm going to tell you about the sad and tragic case of Ailey Ruiz and why her death is the second tragedy her family has endured. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. I feel like I've told you recently about way too many cases like Ailey Ruiz's, children dying after being left in hot cars. As a mom, it just hits me in the gut. Our kids are the most important people in our lives, and it's our job to make sure that they are always safe. But last Friday, police in Anaheim, California, say that didn't happen with Ailey Ruiz.
Anaheim police officers and Anaheim Fire and Rescue responded to the 1300 block of North Fashion Lane in the city of Anaheim. They were responding to a medical emergency call for service. When they got there, they found a parent family member working, giving first aid to an unconscious 3-year-old little girl. Apparently, she had been pulled out of a vehicle, which was a white Ford Expedition. The officers took over first aid measures until paramedics could arrive. And while they were doing that, they noticed a second unconscious adult female in the same vehicle. They also gave her first aid right away. The little girl, actually both of them were transported to local hospitals. Unfortunately, the young 3-year-old girl passed away and died. The preliminary cause of death has been determined to be complications related to heat stroke.
Now, the final autopsy report, it isn't complete yet, but heat stroke seems like the likely cause of death for Ailey. Sergeant Sutter described just how hot it was last Friday.
The outside air temperature at that time of the call was approximately 104 degrees. Wow. It was a very humid day. I don't know the temperature inside the car. Based on open source research I did, temperatures inside the vehicle could reach above 150 degrees. The actual temperature, I'm sure, something that the investigators and the coroner will look at to determine the cause of death and the time of death.
Now, you heard Sergeant Sutter say there was a second person inside that locked SUV, an unconscious woman that was Ailey Ruiz's mother, Sandra Hernandez. He told me they also found empty alcohol bottles. So it raises the question, was Sandra Hernandez so intoxicated and drunk that she simply passed out?
I'm sure it's the number one thing on everybody's mind right now. And I can tell you that we served a search warrant on both the vehicle and her residence, and there were alcohol bottles found inside the vehicle. I can't tell you which kind. I don't know how many. I don't know the contents, whether it was full or empty. That's all part of the investigation. And regarding her level of intoxication, if any, that will be made available when the report is complete. And at this time, I can't say what her level was.
You'll hear more about Sandra Hernandez and the alcohol found in her car when the DA's office joins me later on. Sandra Hernandez, is now in jail in Orange County, California. She faces charges of involuntary manslaughter and felony child neglect. Meanwhile,
What?
Eiley's father, Juan Ruiz, he posted
She should have a murder charge on that, man, not an involuntary
the
manslaughter.
video on Facebook, and he is distraught.
I wish I was making this up, right? But no, man, my daughter really is dead due to the negligence of her mother. Right now,
Imagine what he's
my
going through, man.
5-year-old
Prayers go
son
out to the whole family.
is with his aunt. She's got a temporary placement for him. I got to go to court on the 11th to see if the state will give me my son back. It's the only thing I have left besides my dog right here.
Now, since posting that video, Juan Ruiz has come out and defended Sandra Hernandez, calling her a good mother and saying, of course, she would never do this on purpose, and that she turned to alcohol after suffering mental health issues following the loss of the couple's older sons in 2012. 9-year-old Cyrus and 5-year-old Alaries were killed when a drunk driver ran over their tent during a camping trip in North Dakota, as I mentioned back in 2012.
That's terrible.
It makes the case just absolutely more worse than it actually is. Ruiz's family has started a GoFundMe to raise money for Eiley's funeral, her aunt writing, "It's still hard to wrap our minds around the thought Eiley is no longer with us. She has been tragically taken from our family in such an unfathomable way, and all we want to do is ease the burden and pain her father Juan and the family are going through at this time." I want to bring in Kimberly Edds with the Orange County District Attorney's Office. Kimberly, we were just talking. This is the second time in a week I've talked to you about a case involving a child who's died in your jurisdiction. It's just horrible. The first was Chance Crawford, totally different type of case, but this is a tragedy. This is little Eiley Ruiz who has died, and the allegation is that her mother was intoxicated and I guess passed out, and she's in the vehicle with her daughter, and the daughter dies.
Yeah, last Friday, family members of Sandra Hernandez Cazares were called by her son's elementary school. He had just started kindergarten because no one came to pick him up from kindergarten that Friday afternoon, and they were unable to get a hold of his mother. And so they began looking for her everywhere and found her vehicle parked near their apartment in Anaheim, and looked inside, were able to see her and her young daughter inside the locked Ford Expedition, and they had to break out the window. Temperatures were about 104 degrees at the time, and when her mother was taken to the hospital, she was unconscious when they found her. She had a blood alcohol level several hours later of 0.3, which is almost 4 times the legal limit here in California to drive a motor vehicle. And it's just an absolutely tragic situation for a little 3-year-old who really just couldn't escape the heat. It's something that I think resonates with everyone. We've been in a heat wave for quite a bit of time now here in California, and it's just something that everyone thinks about, is making sure that you don't leave a child, you don't leave an animal, you don't leave anything in a car just because of the extreme danger.
Oh my goodness, 0.3. I mean, that is astronomical. I mean, is there any indication of just how long they were in the vehicle? I mean, that's 0.3 makes me think passed out cold. I mean, you would have to be to stay in a vehicle that long without coming to. So were they in there for a really long time?
Yeah, the doctors at the hospital estimate that the little girl had passed away about 3 or 4 hours before her body was discovered in that vehicle. So we believe that they were in the vehicle for an extended amount of time without anybody knowing. The vehicle had very darkly tinted windows that probably made it even more difficult for anybody to know that there was something wrong inside of that car. And they were parked just outside of their apartment, just steps away from their apartment.
It's confounding to me that, you know, of course, Eiley was a little 3-year-old girl. She's a small child. Mom survives. She's able to survive being in there for several hours. She's facing an involuntary manslaughter charge and a child neglect charge. Could more charges be added later at the grand jury? Does the DA's office anticipate that?
I mean, we're still reviewing all the facts of exactly what happened. There's some things that we're still piecing together, but I think the charges that she's facing of involuntary manslaughter as well as child abuse resulting in GBI, which is obviously the death of the toddler, she faces a maximum sentence of 12 years at this point.
That's wild, man. 12
and
years
I just think this is a very important reminder of how susceptible children are to heat. We see these stories over and over and over again of babies and toddlers being exposed to the elements, either left in a car inadvertently, just because a parent's distracted or something like that. And we just have to remember that their bodies don't respond to those temperatures the way that an adult can, and they can die very, very, very quickly.
Well, it is heartbreaking, and I just can't even imagine. I mean, I've read some things about Sandra Hernandez apparently turning to alcohol, grieving because she had 2 other children apparently who were killed by a drunk driver. I mean, there's a lot of layers here. But this is certainly a tragedy. And I said it earlier in the show, we've seen way too many cases recently.
But not even, they talking about DUIs. So a DUI back in 2012, 2013 took away her 2 sons. And now her technically drinking just lost the life of her daughter. Like,
of people having children in the car. This one is particularly unique, though. I mean, we have mom in the vehicle. This isn't where one of those cases where a mother or a father leaves a child in a car and simply thinks they dropped the child off at daycare. She was in there with the child.
No sort of way of escaping a car. Like she said, had dark tints, no one could see her. She's probably screaming for her mom to wake up, and she just passed out drunk. Man, that's just, I couldn't imagine that, man.
I'm sure your office has never seen something like that.
Yeah,
12 years maximum.
We don't have a case that is in our office right now that we can recall of anything very, the similar fact pattern. But I just think you mentioned the fact that she had lost 2 prior children, a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, when they were run over while they were sleeping in a tent on a camping trip in the Midwest. And, that's just something that you can never recover from. And it's just heartbreaking that now not only she has to live with the fact that she's never going to see those little boys grow up, and she's never going to see her daughter grow up because of the choices that she made.
Yeah, it's awful. Well, Kimberly Edds, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to turn back now to Anaheim Police Sergeant Matt Sutter, who wanted to stress the importance of never, ever leaving a child unattended in a car. And of course, this case is somewhat unusual since the mother, Sandra Hernandez, passed out in the car.
I think it's pretty unusual. I don't recall a case like this in my career. I can tell you, based on open source research that I did, roughly 40 children die in this manner every year across the nation, which is 40 too many. I'd like to remind everybody, never leave your child alone in the car, not even for a minute. It doesn't have to be overwhelming temperatures. I mean, even at 60 degrees, even with clouds in the sky, given enough time, a car can heat to levels that are dangerous and could cause serious injury or even death to small children.
It's not clear whether anyone saw Sandra Hernandez and Eiley in the SUV before they were found, but Sergeant Sutter has advice in case someone ever sees a person in a hot car.
Here in the state of California, a law was passed in 2021, just a few years ago, that you can force your way into a car to rescue a child who's overheating, and you can't be held liable criminally or civilly. My recommendation is, if you come across a situation like this, I don't care what state you're in, call 911 first, get the paramedics started, and then based on the circumstances, take what action you feel is necessary. If you're acting in good faith to help this person,
that should be a law passed everywhere.
And that's it for this episode of Crime.
If you see something, even a dog, like if you see something and they're heating up, like overheating, like a living, breathing, whatever, and no one's in there and it's hot as shit, like you should be able to break the window and get the dog out, man. I don't know if it is a law everywhere. It should be. But I know there's some liberal ass states in here in the United States that probably, wrote that shit right off. But heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to hear the whole family's been struggling with just battle of death for the last 10 years, 12 to 15 years type shit due to alcohol. And, she's still just making poor choices. It's like, if you're supposed to be a role model for your kids, and that's terrible to see, man. Hopefully the dad can get his son back, praying for that. Like you said, he doesn't really have much left, it appears to be. And, hopefully I hope the mother gets more than a 12-year sentence, because that's kind of foul that she can get a maximum of 12. That means she can get like 5 years or whatever for doing some careless ass shit like this due to her being careless. Like, what's the maximum for a DUI? Like, it should be, I'd feel like it should be considered almost as a DUI. I mean, obviously she wasn't driving, but how do you know she wasn't driving before? She was behind the wheel of a car with alcohol in the car. What are y'all thoughts and opinions, though? I'm going to answer back every single comment left on this video. Happy to see what you guys are saying down there. Other than that, we're going to roll this outro. Let's go. Alright, y'all, we're going to wrap this one up. If you do this type of content, I'm going to link a playlist right in the video. It's going to have all the reactions on there for y'all to check out. We got that little giveaway I was talking about at the start of the video. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're giving away a couple $50 gift cards. So if you're trying to make some free money, all you gotta do is go down to the bottom of this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you share this video to a buddy, you get bonus points entered into the giveaway. Super easy to enter, and we're giving away 4 $50 gift cards. So there's 4 winners picked, and winners will be announced once we reach 1,000 subscribers. Other than that, we also got those live streams up. Go ahead and check those out. Links gonna be down below. Come check me out here on YouTube when I go live. And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. We're gonna keep dropping these bangers for y'all. We'll go ahead and catch you on the next one. Peace.